Welcome to the Joy Meets Pain podcast. I'm your host, Dorcas. As a family therapist, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, my family is the worst, or I'm too embarrassed to talk about my family, or no family is like mine. Well, guess what, listeners? All families have ishness, foolishness, happiness, shadiness, loneliness, forgiveness, hopefulness, goodness, and the list goes on. If you come from a family, like we all do, and are trying to navigate your family relationships, then welcome. Here's an important disclaimer. I am not providing therapy or medical advice. Please consult with your medical and mental health providers. And here's a heads up. Once in a while, I will curse. So if you're looking for a clean, no foul language kind of show, this is not it. Join me and my co-host Taki mid-month and end of the month on Wednesdays as we discuss all things family, both joyful and painful. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to our podcast, Joy Meets Pain. Our episode for today is phone addiction, the device that never sleeps. All right, Tuffy, welcome. It's a pleasure seeing you as
Hi,
always.
nice
Hello.
to be. Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. So I'm so excited to talk about this topic, and hopefully we can cover it in 30 minutes or less. There is a lot to say. But yes, we're going to zip through it as quickly as we possibly can. All right, so I think probably what I'll do is I will start by playing a clip of
Mhm.
Trevor Noah's video. So he has his own podcast, as his fans know, and he mentioned phone addiction. All right, or actually social media. I think his was very specific to social media. So I'm going to pull it up and we can take a look here.
There's this idea, and I think it's neuroscientists have stated this, and psychologists. They've said that as human beings, we overestimate how happy something will make us, and we underestimate how unhappy something can make us.
Okay.
Right? I think social media falls into one of those categories. We take for granted how unhappy it has made us as a civilization. We take for granted how much it's hurt us, I'm not saying it hasn't brought the good things, but I think the good things are far outweighed by the bad. My issue is we talk about TikTok and all these algorithms knowing us well. I think the thing we take for granted is that we're creating a feedback loop where the data that we're putting out becomes the data that we're getting in. What you don't realize is happening to you is, for the most part, the algorithm is contracting your view of the world and leaving you in a world where you like the things that you like. And it's just giving you slight versions of the things that you
fair.
like. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
And I worry about what it's going to do to us as a society. I worry what it's already done. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, but Trevor, I mean, because of social media, I know what's happening in the world. Yeah, we knew what was happening in the world before social media.
Did we though?
We did. We did.
But hold on.
We did.
No.
All right, so I'll stop sharing there. But I tell you, I mean, these are the thoughts I have on a frickin' daily basis. Because I just, I mean, I completely get it that we can't live without our phones, but it's really just disheartening to see what a high price we are paying, right? So I'll also share an article, but there's a social worker. I mean, there's, you know, so much information out there that we can find on the impact that our phone addiction is having on our functioning, right? But one article you can find on Psychology Today, social worker Lisa Ferentz also reported on, you know, how it is difficult for parents to parent during this digital age, right?
Yeah.
Another great article I came across was from Zhu and et al. And the other authors, researchers, and the title of this article was Smartphone Dependence and Its Influence on Physical and Mental Health. So we'll discuss all of the influence, the different symptoms that appear due to this phone addiction use. But in their article, they talked about how in China, more than 99% of people access the internet on their phones, right?
So like 100%.
Pretty much, just everyone, the elderly, the young, you name it, 99% of people are accessing their phones, accessing the internet on their phones. Right. So they also talk about how smartphones have created this heads down generation. Again, I
Mm,
think it's self-explanatory, not much to be said there. And also, we do see how phone addiction is very similar to other addictions as well, right? Dopamine, we want more, we want it now, we want it quickly. And so we see this compulsive behavior, right? And we're constantly reward seeking. And this is something that the smartphones can do for us 24/7, right?
mm.
So yeah, I mean, this is a topic I'm just really excited to talk about, but I could ramble on and on. So Taffy, you'll have to stop me and share your thoughts. Yeah, I mean, your thoughts about this issue and do you see more benefits than negative consequences, I guess, of phone addiction or phone use or having a smartphone?
I think um I think it's become very tricky. I was discussing this with a colleague recently. After having watched, I don't know if you watch Abbott Elementary.
Mhm.
Yeah, the series, and I recently watched an episode where for the day, they took all, like, teachers and kids had to give up their phones. And, of course, it wasn't successful at the end, but it had me thinking, and I was discussing this with a colleague, that as much as, now there's this struggle to go back to, less phones, less screen time, um, capitalism and everything is pushing us
Right,
towards, because if
right.
you think about it, you need your phone to pay for
Everything,
things.
or
You
everything.
need your phones to access, certain apps for
Right,
your bank. And
right.
I think when I used to work at the gym, I remember the point where they started implementing like digital check-ins, and
Yes, yes, yes.
where the card, I think now they don't use cards anymore in some gyms. You have an app, and then when you come in, you open an app, and that's how you check yourself in. That's your card.
Hmm.
And so it's almost like, society is being
Yeah.
like, shaped in such a way that even if you don't want to, you need to,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And I come across websites where, when you go to the website now, it says, "Oh, download our app." The
yes, yes,
website
of course.
more. So
Of
now you
course.
need a phone.
Exactly, exactly.
So
Yeah.
there's that part where it's like, it's almost like at the point where it's now by force,
Yes.
which makes you feel like, yes, there are benefits because I can check my emails, I can do my banking on my phone, I don't have to go to the bank, which of course are all convenient things. I can book appointments, I can book flights, I can check my flights, I don't have to print things. But like Trevor is saying, the what outweighs the other, and I
Right.
think the negatives do outweigh the positives, I would say. But it's
Yeah, for
almost like
sure.
the choice is getting less
Yeah.
in terms of what direction we're headed in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so someone told me recently they went to a music concert and the performer had everyone check in their phones, not just for privacy, because some comedians will do that where they don't want you to steal their material, right? But this performer, apparently it was more because she wanted people to be present and to actually enjoy the show rather than record and scroll and do all those other things. So, I thought, oh, okay, interesting, interesting. But anyway, there's a Georgetown University professor, Dr. Kostadin Kushlev, who wrote an article also on smartphone addiction. This is a February 2025 article. And he actually
Mhm.
said that, there are small hidden benefits, right, that come up with having a phone and using a phone. And in one of the studies that he did, a group of people, some, used their phones to find a location, and others did not have a phone, right? And so obviously those who had the phone could find it faster, right? So that is one of the benefits, But I say, I mean, is it really a benefit? Because how did we function? We had no phones, right? We had paper maps and sometimes no maps, right? But you could get from Zimbabwe to Zambia to somebody's house without a frickin' map. You just have the address and you figure it out. But now we can't, And the thing is, a lot of us don't know phone numbers anymore. I know the few people who are close to me, but if you ask me to give you 10 phone numbers, I will not know them. Why do I need to memorize them? You know? And
Yeah.
so again, I think as many you know, researchers and, authors and things will talk about is it's not necessarily the technology that's the issue, it's how we use it, right? And so are we using it to enhance our knowledge or are we becoming dependent on it? Are we consumers or are we creators, right? And again, as Dr. Kushlev said, is your phone controlling you or are you controlling your phone? Mm. All right. So, and I do want to share my screen again so I can show this really great clip. And he has a YouTube video that he did on the research that he's done with phone use. But I'm going to go ahead and just show this clip because I think it says a lot about um, how distracted we are with our phones. Um, all right, so let me pull it up. So I think this is such a great visual of how distracted we are because of our phones. And again, most of us think we're multitasking, we're managing things well, we're engaging in conversation, but you have all these notifications that are coming up, a text message and an email and Instagram and you name it, right? A missed phone call and it's nonstop and your calendar and Amazon is telling you
Yeah.
where your package is, and it's just endless. And so for people who don't even turn off their notifications, this is just like a constant barrage of, information coming at you. So yeah, I mean, I'll, share the clip. You can watch his video to learn about his research and what he says. But I thought it was just a powerful visual to share. All right, so
Mhm.
as we continue this conversation, so I mean, the behaviors that we see, um, or that we do, that we engage in when it comes to our phones. So, first thing, we wake up. Some of us use our phones as alarms. So, it gives us a reason, an excuse to see the text messages or,
Yeah.
whatever notifications have come up while we were sleeping. Some of us, you know, um, may keep our phones on our bed so that we can check the time when we toss and turn to see how much more time we have before we go to our wonderful jobs, right? And then, of course, you're distracted. Ah, breaking news, this and this has happened, right? So it's significantly affecting our sleep. And so feeling this constant urge also to check the phone. You
Mhm.
know. So, Taffy, have you figured out a routine that works for you as far as managing your phone use in the morning, especially first thing when you wake up?
I think I've gone through phases with it. I think there are times where I'm able to be more conscious that, when I wake up, not to automatically reach for it. But like you said, that's where my alarm is.
Yeah,
And so sometimes I'll wake up a bit earlier than the
yeah,
set alarm, then I'll reach for it to check.
yeah,
And then I suddenly now just checking everything. I'm checking my
yeah,
WhatsApp.
yeah,
And so I think, for example, actually today when I woke up, I made it a like a conscious choice to not reach for the
yeah,
phone,
yeah,
use that time to, I don't know, scan my body from head to
yeah,
toe, bottom to top, and that kind of stuff. Um, and so I think, yeah, sometimes I'm pretty good with it. Um, and I think in the past I've implemented things like first thing in the morning, I get out of bed and I go and journal for, a couple, maybe 10-15 minutes
yeah,
before doing anything else. So stuff like that has helped.
yeah, yeah,
Um, doesn't always stick though. I think there are seasons where everything is just all over the place and
yeah,
it's whatever. I think those are some things like,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any routines?
So, yeah, so one thing I did do was to get an actual alarm that so that I'm
Mm-hmm.
not using my phone as the alarm. But something else that also works, and Jay Shetty, another great podcaster, talked about morning routines and how they pretty much structure how we're going to function the rest of the day, right? So, yes, putting your phone away, right? If you turn it off at night, you put it in a drawer. If you'd set an
Mm-hmm.
alarm, you will have to get up and walk to turn the alarm off, right? Which is going to get you out of bed. And so that also should address the issue of hitting snooze 3, 4 times, right? Because if you have to get up and walk and turn off the alarm, chances are you're probably not going to hit snooze and walk back, right? So I think that's a helpful thing to do as well. So yes, keeping the phones away, not keeping them on the bed or under the pillow or anywhere where, they may disturb. Putting it on Do Not Disturb. I think that's our best friend, which also helps, I think, during the day to help with staying focused, right? But I mean, you can clearly see how anxious people are when they are not able to hold a phone, and I mean, I love watching people. So everywhere I go, I am constantly observing, right? Which is why I got into the work that I do. I love just watching people and behavior. And I mean, at a freaking tennis match, you're watching Alcaraz play and you're on TikTok. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You're at a concert and you're scrolling, watching kittens playing or whatever, right? So, it's baffling to me, but this is the world we live in. And so you can see that people struggle to put the phone down. They are uncomfortable, I mean, in class and in everything, people struggle, and it's funny because it's like, students may not think you can see them on their phones texting or whatever. No, you can see behaviors, right? So anyway, but yeah, I mean, people are very anxious when they're not holding the phone. And many people will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, I think the majority of people I ask will say, Even when they're watching a movie, even when they're having a conversation, they will still be scrolling, you know. And this is a common complaint, especially in couples as well, where quality time is gone because one is on their phone and on social media more than in the relationship. You know, at bedtime, people are on their phones again instead of connecting. So the list is endless. All right, so I mean, impact. Again, this is a very long list, so we can go through some of these. So we've already talked about the increase in anxiety and stress, right? So part of the stress also comes from why didn't this person respond? Or I sent this message, 2 hours ago, I haven't heard back, right? Or emails, right? You get um, an email that requires immediate attention or, is concerning or whatever, or it's work, those who have their work phones and emails popping up with notifications and, just constant information, right? And with social media, I mean, this comparing, you know, I think this is
Yeah.
one of the downsides of social media and people feeling not seen and heard because nobody will like what they post. And yes, I don't know if we talked about this recently, but if you're not being provocative, or, you know, talking about gossip and things like that, then people aren't interested, right? And Claudia Jordan, I've talked about her before as well, but she also talked about the challenge of doing podcasts and videos is when she tries to have serious conversations about politics, people don't really want to listen. So her new podcast, she combines uh, gossip with,
Mm.
important information. And this is a way to keep people informed. And
Wow.
her podcast is called Accidentally Informed because it's like, well, in order to get your attention, we have to tell you what Beyonce did, and then we'll just slide it in there, you know. Um,
Oh man.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also because life has become harder for most people, right? Um,
Mm.
we need distractions in order to just feel good about life. And so
Yeah.
there's no shortage on social media and TikTok and YouTube and all those other places where you can just watch what other people are doing, you can dream and fantasize, there's no shortage of it. But it's all taking away from me working on myself and what I need to be doing.
True.
All right.
True. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So other impacts, Taffy, you want to share the others?
Other impacts would be things like sleep disruption from, nighttime use. I mean, how many of us have stayed up until 1 a.m. On a weeknight? I
Yeah.
can put my hand up. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but there's
Yeah.
just sometimes maybe you've already had whatever day you had, and then you're restless, and then you get into bed, and then you get distracted, and before you know it, it's been 3 hours, and you were
Yeah.
supposed to have gone to bed, you know,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
while ago. Still, you're still on your phone,
All
and
right.
so,
All right.
disruption.
Yeah. And you're
Then,
overstimulated. I think that's the
yeah,
challenge
yeah,
because then now you have to start trying to wind down, but your
yeah,
mind is so active,
absolutely.
which is difficult. And yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest downsides of smartphones is addictions are many, right? So beyond just being addicted to the
Mm.
phone itself, but for those who have a gambling problem, oh, you can just click and gamble
Oh yeah, you don't
24/7.
have to go somewhere.
No,
Yeah.
I'll just do it
They
on my phone.
don't.
And, unfortunately, also this buy now, pay later approach is getting people in a lot of debt because, oh, you don't have the money today. Well, pay in installments, right? And
And stuff.
so Yep, gambling and installments, porn
Eh,
addiction. I mean, it's all on your phone. You do not need
oh my
to
God.
go and rent a VHS video in the adult video store. You know, it's all on your phone and it's 24/7. It doesn't sleep. Gaming. I mean, people lose sleep. They don't eat. They don't get up to
Yeah,
pee, you
yeah,
know, because they become addicted to video games and things like that. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah,
And you also have, difficulty tolerating boredom. I think we already covered that actually. Just people have shorter attention
yeah,
spans,
yeah,
and it yeah, it's you
yeah,
you always to have it in your hand.
right.
You be satisfied with staring at a wall, listening to your surroundings, observing your
Yeah,
surroundings, and
yeah,
then we also touched on couples spend less time together
right,
because
right.
they're together, but everyone is scrolling and sending each other memes.
Oh, yes, of course.
You're
Not
sitting
even
in the
having
same
real
room, but
conversations.
you're sending each other links and memes, and instead of having meaningful conversations, creating memories, doing things together, getting to know each other. And I think a sad one is parents getting distracted from children,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think we see this a lot, even, just go outside,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
public transport,
yeah,
a child crying and the mom is on the phone. I mean, we could give grace and say, maybe she's trying to sort out something, an appointment for the child, who knows? But,
right.
you see it so often and you're just like, wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but because
Or,
it's an addiction.
yeah, yeah. Or, I mean, using iPads as babysitters, right?
Oh,
know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, or
yeah,
you sit the baby in the high chair and you give them the gadget
yeah,
and they are just
yeah,
playing and staring at it nonstop and you can go on about your business and do other things, But yes, it
mhm,
is very difficult for busy parents, especially who have to work two jobs to make a living.
mhm,
They are burnt out as well. And so,
yeah. And
gadgets,
childcare is expensive.
oh, of
You
course.
and I don't know how that was for you growing up in Zim, but remember in Zim you have a helper that
Hmm.
stays with
Hmm.
you in the
Hmm.
house.
Hmm.
So I think that that alleviated a lot of work for parents, especially
Right,
for moms,
right,
when it came to looking after the kids. They
yeah,
didn't have to take us everywhere.
right, right, right,
They stay at home.
yeah,
We will be back. And they
yeah,
would go about their Saturday. They would run their errands without having to take us
yeah,
along everywhere.
yeah,
And so sometimes when I do see a mom who's by herself in public transport or in the supermarket or in TK Maxx and
yeah,
she's just trying to get things done
right, right,
and
right,
the child is screaming, and then the only thing she can do because she's so
right,
overwhelmed
right,
is to just this child a phone with something playing on YouTube just so she can
yeah,
get something done, because the environment is different,
yeah,
and
yeah,
people
absolutely,
don't
yeah,
have support as what we grew up around. So
yeah,
it's really tricky. It's
yeah.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, and we grew up in a safer world, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
having this conversation with a friend as well, about, as teenagers, when we were young, we could hitchhike into the city and there was no fear. You go, whether it's daytime, nighttime, you go to the main road, you hitchhike and, you come back home. But now it's not as safe, and obviously, depending on where in the world you live, it's something, some people have never been able to do because it's just never been a safe place to do that. So yeah,
Mm.
I mean, parents felt okay with us going outside and playing for hours and things like that because they knew we were safe. But now
Yeah,
parents are anxious, and so they don't allow
yeah,
their kids to go outside and play, and they think it's safer to stay
true.
in the house and, watch YouTube and do all those things. But we're sitting, we're not moving, our health is deteriorating as well. So, many, many, many negatives there. All right.
And it's
And
also limited our a bit, well, for the younger generations, especially. I think with my generation, for example, and I'm sure with yours as well, we we know what life was like before.
right.
You know, we you could meet up with friends and
Yeah,
no one had social media. So maybe
yeah.
yes, you had your Nokia 5110 and you could text your friends, but that was about it. You couldn't take photos, you couldn't
Right,
post
right.
on Snapchat, you couldn't post
Yeah.
a story on Instagram or Facebook. So
Right. But
all
we
you
we
knew
also we
to live.
don't need all those freaking
No.
photos. Who has
Yeah.
time to look through them anyway, right? We take,
Yeah.
we click, and they just sit on our phones. And where do they go? Nowhere. We buy more
Nowhere.
storage because we need more storage to take
Yeah.
more pictures. So what are we doing ultimately?
Yeah.
But
And back
now if
then,
we look at
oh,
the
yeah.
5, 10 photos we had from back then, like we treasure them, right?
Yeah, yeah. My mom has envelopes. Actually, when I
Right,
went,
albums and things like
we
that.
were like going through them with Rue and, baby
Yeah,
photos. We were
yeah,
passing around and,
yeah,
oh man,
yep, yep.
goodness.
I know it's different. But again, I think unfortunately we're talking more about the negative consequences here. But one huge one that I see a lot is a decrease in socialization skills. So
Mhm,
not only
mhm.
in children, but also in adults. Obviously, the pandemic didn't help because people were isolated and so got used to not interacting in person, right? Wearing masks and you didn't have to talk or anything like that. But a lot of kids are very socially awkward because they
Mhm.
don't know how to do the face-to-face interaction. And in fact, most of them don't, right? And this is something that makes my mom cringe because she
Crazy.
is from the generation of you walk into a room, you greet everyone, you say hello, you sit, you talk, but
Yeah.
no, 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 no. The youth of today, this is not what we're doing. I don't see you because I'm always on my phone. So I don't
Yeah.
even see people, if it's not in here, I'm not seeing you, right? So you can even say hello to me and I won't hear you, right? So
Mm.
social skills have gone out the window for many. And unfortunately, again, in busy homes, parents just are too burnt out to try and address the issue. And so everyone is in their rooms. I mean, we function the same way. You text, if you need something or whatever. But yeah, it's not um, the ideal way of functioning for us mammals. We need to be
Mm.
together, and we need to sort of um, function. It's, in a reciprocal way, but our phones have definitely taken that away. All right. I mean, physical pain, neck, back, wrists, all of that we are seeing in huge numbers as well. So these are some of the physical consequences of being addicted to our phones. All right. And I mean, of course, ordering. Do we need to say more about ordering? So not just food, but again, it's 24/7. I can get food 24/7. I can order on Amazon 24/7. And we wonder why Amazon employees, most of them, might not be so happy because they're working 24/7. Because I just ordered a tube of toothpaste and I want it today. And so some driver is going to drive all the way to my house to bring it. But I can click on my phone and order quickly, right? And this is the life. I mean, China, India, these places where technology is even more advanced, this is how they live, right? So when I went to India, like if my friend was cooking and she needed 1 carrot, she could order and they would bring and deliver 1 carrot, very inexpensive as well, you know. But yes, in China, I mean, everything you're doing on your phone, right? And there's a funny clip that I also posted on social media about a BBC guy ordering coffee at a restaurant or a coffee shop. And he walks up to the counter and he's telling the guy, can I have a blah, blah, blah? And the guy's like, no, you need to type in your order on the app, you know? And he's like, well, why can't I just tell you what I want? You're standing right there. And the guy's like, nope, it has to come through the machine, and it's quite outrageous when you think about it.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
just like, oh, why can't we just talk,
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
but no, 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 no. This is not the world we live in. Okay, so let's start touching on possible ways now to decrease our phone addiction. So you want to jump in with that?
Yeah, sure. So the first one would be creating a some sort of rule, especially when you're around family and friends or loved ones. Um, no phone rule at the dinner table
Yeah,
or family time during date night. So just generally putting your phone away
yeah,
when you're spending with anyone
yeah,
and putting it face down on the
yeah,
table
yeah,
count. I think
yeah,
a lot of us, I'm guilty of that too, but I try to be conscious of it a bit more now.
yeah,
Is it's still there and you're still eyeing it. You're still, if you hear a sound, you're like, was that, so
yeah,
take it off the table, put it
yeah,
in your bag. My
yeah.
aunt always says she has a little basket. And so
Mm-hmm.
when her son visits with his wife, everyone has to give up their phone, put it in a basket, and then we
Okay.
can go to the and we can
Yeah.
hang out. So,
Okay. Yeah.
and then planning social media breaks regularly. So this is one that I do quite often because
Yeah.
I think you were talking about overstimulation, and I think I can feel when my head is full of just looking at things and
Yeah.
hearing opinions and hearing hot takes and
Yeah.
seeing things. And so every once in a while, um, I delete the app. I
Yeah.
delete Instagram.
Yeah.
Um, I've stopped joining any new apps. I stopped using Twitter a long time ago. Twitter used
Yeah.
to actually mess with I think with my
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah.
And so one day I logged out and I just never logged back in. But yeah, just planning social
Yeah.
media breaks regularly. So either
Yeah.
deleting the app, hiding the app, that seems to work pretty well for me because if I don't see it,
Yeah.
I after a while I get used to not seeing it, and then I find that I look for it less, so I feel the need to look for it less.
Yeah.
Um, and
Right.
you can go for longer stretches of time as needed. So sometimes I can just decide, for the whole month, I'm just not on Instagram, for example.
Yeah.
Or um, I also used to do, like, let's say Sundays off of social media. So from the morning when I wake up, just I'll see everything and everyone tomorrow. So, once a week or longer stretches, um, read a
Yeah.
book instead, when you're
Yeah.
commuting or if you're in a queue or you're wait in a waiting room, in a doctor's waiting room. I take a book with me. Always have a book in your bag or in your car. Read a
Yeah.
book, stare out the window.
Yeah.
Um, Turning off push notifications is
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
don't have notifications on my phone
Yeah.
for like WhatsApp, for my email. Um,
Yeah.
so I have to go in and
Right.
see
Right.
what's
Right.
happening.
Right.
So I think
Absolutely.
that's reduced a lot of
Yeah.
anxiety for me
Yeah.
in terms of, hearing that ping. My phone is consistently on silent. It
Yes.
vibrates.
Yes. Right. Right.
There's no ping or anything. And I always look at everyone like they're crazy when I hear their phones pinging. I'm just like, why? Why? Why are you doing that to
Okay.
yourself and the rest
Yeah.
of us? Just
Yeah. Oh,
turn
and the
it
rest
off.
of us, of course, of course. But yeah, and I mean, a lot of people just don't take advantage of do not disturb. Like, put your phone on
Yeah,
focus,
yeah.
right? Just turn it off. And the thing with social media is you can plan the time that you're going to go on social
Yeah.
media, right? So if I'm going to do it in the morning, let's say, when I take my first break at 11 a.m., I might do it from 11 to 11:10, done, right? Then if it's mid-afternoon, I might go on there 30 minutes, whatever, in the evening if I go on there. But you can schedule the time to be on social
Mhm.
media
Yeah.
and you keep it short. That way and you can also set a timer so that it goes off when your time is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just simply use the focus feature on your phone and put your phone on do not disturb, and that way you don't even have to think about hearing the notifications.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can keep going. Um,
Allow yourself to do nothing. Like I said, stare out the window in public transport if you're someone that commutes. Notice your surroundings, smile at people, make eye contact. I think you've spoken about generally, for other reasons, being aware of surroundings so you can be kind to people. But in general, just seeing what's happening around you,
yeah,
um, because that's also, those are opportunities to connect with people. Those are opportunities to
yeah,
extend a hand of kindness, or to smile at someone, or whatever the case may be. um Next one is creating an intentional morning routine. I think we've sort of covered this
yeah,
already.
yeah,
um or as soon as you wake up, that doesn't include your phone. So
right.
only allowing yourself to reach for your phone after you've done those things. So taking a deep breaths as you wake up, or meditation, drinking a glass of water, going to the toilet, stretching, journaling, and then you can check your phone.
Yeah,
You can just set aside even just 30 minutes or an hour, just so you can ease yourself into the day. And I think, I can't remember what it was I was listening to, but I'm sure there's probably a correlation between checking your phone and cortisol levels, probably. So, I think forcing yourself to start your day slowly,
yeah,
um, definitely helps.
yeah, yeah,
Scheduling screen free time, we've already covered that.
right.
Take advantage of the settings on your phone,
Yeah,
settings in your app.
yeah.
Um, Pick up a hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But
Or,
yeah, I mean,
or
I think the hobby
yeah.
part is difficult for many people to do. I think this is the biggest challenge we're facing now is um our ability to be disciplined to do things that are good for us has become more difficult
Mm,
because we're just so distracted and we're constantly seeking rewards faster, right? And
mm.
so, you know, why should I want to go exercise or go to the gym when I can feel the same thing watching somebody else exercise and whatever, right? Um,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's much harder, but
It is my stuff for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
But
but
yeah, I mean, I think I just look at it from a perspective of not necessarily just picking anything, or picking necessarily something that's good for you, but just something that you're interested in. Pick up
Yeah.
a dance class just for just. You don't have to be good at it.
Yeah.
I don't know, take an
Yeah.
art class or
Right.
something, or go
Right.
buy some wool and teach yourself how to knit. I don't
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
just whimsical things. It doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be serious at all, but just
Right.
using that time to do something else.
Yeah.
Even if it's
So,
book. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so anything that is going to involve movement
Yeah.
and your hands,
Hands.
use of your hands, wonderful
Yeah.
alternatives, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, before we get to the reflection, I remembered the article that came out about Meta and mental health. And so I just wanted to read a clip from the article. So this was posted on NPR. Jury finds Meta and Google negligent and social media harms trial. So a California jury, this was Wednesday, this was in March 2026. A California jury on Wednesday found that Meta and Google were to blame for the depression and anxiety of a woman who compulsively used social media as a small child, awarding her $6 million in a rare verdict, holding Silicon Valley accountable for its role in fueling a youth mental health crisis. So jurors concluded that Meta and Google should pay the woman $3 million in compensatory damages and an additional $3 million in punitive damages, with Meta on the hook for 17% of the amount. Well, we should all sue, right? We should all be suing. Anyway, yes, you can read that article, but clearly I think the impact is evident. All right,
Yeah.
so reflection. So what role does your phone play in your life? So, listeners, process, think about each of these reflection points, write them down, and identify where you can start to make changes. What role does your phone play in your life? Tuffy, you want to read the next one?
When do you reach for your phone most often?
Okay. All right. What emotions trigger your scrolling?
Ooh,
Yes, yes,
that's
yes. All
yeah.
right. Read the next one.
How has phone use affected your closest relationships? Mm-hmm.
Sending the text to the wrong person. All right, sending a text at 3 a.m. And I mean, many, many, many ways, right?
Oh gosh.
What would improve if you reduced your phone use by 50%? Oh, my goodness, that's a powerful one. What would
Yeah.
improve if you reduced your phone use by 50%? All right, Taffy next.
What is one phone-free boundary you could implement this week? Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking about that one too, and I'm trying to think what mine could be. Um, I think yeah, focus more on before I get on YouTube or something, maybe to ask myself if I feel like I achieved everything else important that I
Mhm.
wanted to achieve, right? So that it does become like a treat and not just, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to go on social media. But did I actually achieve my important goals for the day before I grab my phone,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Can you put it down? Can you put your phone away? And for how long? That's a very difficult one for most people to do, but I challenge you all to try it, putting your phone down, putting it away, and seeing how long you actually were able to make it without your phone in your hand. All right,
Mhm.
Taffy, last one.
Do you spend more time on your phone than you do with people?
Okay. And of course, we understand those who live alone, there might not be people there, but I think we can call people more often. Uh,
Yeah. Plan more
so
meetups.
Yeah.
with family, friends.
Yeah, and again, there may be some who may not have family and friends, but
True, true.
volunteering, I think, is a very good way to still connect with people, even if you are alone. But yeah, people with disabilities who might not be able to get out and get out much.
Yeah,
So
true.
it's understandable that connecting through the phone might be their only way. But I do want
Mm.
to challenge, especially families, to maybe set like a day where we have a 4 hour no phone period where we can actually
Mm.
just sit, talk, play a game, do something like that. So figuring out how that works for your family, but trying to find a way to connect more so it's less about the phone and more about the interaction. All right.
Mm.
Well, I mean, like we said, there's a whole lot
This was
to
a
say about phone
hard one.
addiction.
Yeah.
No shortage, but I think the message we are trying to share is recognize how damaging it is for you and your functioning, and maybe start to take steps towards shifting that, especially, given the physical and mental health impact. All right,
Hmm.
wonderful chatting with you, Taffy. Any closing questions, comments?
Closing comment would be, I think I forgot to say this earlier. Bring back notebooks and handwritten to-do lists. I love me a handwritten to-do list that I can cross out with
Yeah,
my hand.
yeah,
Instead of using your notes app,
yeah.
write it down.
Yeah, yeah.
And a cute
Well,
note.
yeah, yeah, no, writing is therapeutic, so I highly encourage it. And growing up in an era where we had no choice but to write, I definitely see the value in it. So,
I actually prefer it. I
yeah,
prefer it.
yeah.
I
All
love the
right,
feeling of writing something out.
yeah. Good, good, good.
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
well, stay well, take care, stay present. We will see you in the next episode. I hope this episode added something meaningful to your life. If you have a family-related story, whether joyful or painful, that you would like to share, please send an email to info@joymeetspain.com, or post a comment, or find us on Instagram and Facebook. If you or any family member has ever said, "Our family is crazy," we want to have you on our show. Thank you for tuning in and for allowing us to spend this part of your day with you. Please rate and review the podcast wherever you listen to the show, and of course subscribe and spread the word. Till next time, stay well and stay present.